All right. Morning, kitty cats. Um, yeah, sorry, Jason. I don't know. Apparently, I'm streaming over Claire's stream, and this week it's like a burst. I'm creating too much content because I just released this morning, which I recorded yesterday, my conversation with scratchy metal. No. No. Meow meow. So what is iron? Well, what's his thing? I forget. Here, I'll show it because I'm going to talk about this this morning because this came up in my conversation with Ben, and I'm trying to think of his here. Where are we at? Videos. Let's share my thing. Let's share screen. So yeah, here my conversation with Ben Jobe. And he, let's click. Here we go. No, stop. I don't want to hear myself. Terrible. But Ben was great. He has this, look at this setup, man. He's just like, can I not zoom in? I can't zoom in because there we go. Look at that setup, man. He's like in a basement in a root cellar. He's got the green lamp. He's got a cigar box, a piano, some whiskey. He's suited up. We have very different vibes. Look at us, which is something we talk about in the video. But yeah, Idea Forge Productions is his YouTube handle, and on X. I mean, this is in the description. Look at me. I'm such a whatever person. I'm responsible. I'm a responsible adult. But in here, one of the things that we talk about is this thing. Let's look at it. This little corner. So, but this is related to the Ben Jobe conversation. So go check it out. It was good. I really enjoyed talking to the guy. It was pretty much just a randos conversation. Like it wasn't. Also, look on. Oh, sorry. I'll finish one thought. We got to talking about ideas a little bit, and his channel is very much focused on ideas. He's just like laying out some broad ways that he wants to think about things. I found out that he's working on actually publishing a few things, some of his work, some of his ideas, in a couple journals. I can't remember if he actually mentioned what the journals were in the talk, but one of the things that he spoke about in that episode, besides like his just story, his the rando conversation part of it, was that he said he had the very common experience. Okay, pause on that. Look at this guy, this Trey Huntley, who did PBK do a thing with him, or did Seabax do a thing with him? But anyhow, look, no, he's talking with Mark Vernon. Interesting. All right, we're gonna close this, and then he was talking about how a little bit of the steep slope of TLC, because he was saying he kind of came Jordan Peterson pipeline, and then at some point, he discovered Vervaeke, Peugeot, and discovered, yeah, good job, silly boy. And then he came across PBK, and he realized, and he came across the TLC, the community, like us weirdos, and he decided, and he, like most people, was saying most of the things that he wants to talk about and ideas are just uninteresting to the people in his local life, which is fine. And so he was excited to engage and to connect with some of us in the TLC just to talk about ideas. And so he went through the initiatory rite of having a randos conversation, telling your story, witnessing, and now, people can reach out to him, people can connect. But one of the things that he talked about at the end, and this is where I wanted to go, is he was just like, how do you even figure out what's going on in the TLC? How do you, like, what channels are in the TLC? How do I know? What is it? How do I know where to go? And it's kind of the steep slope of participating in the TLC. And it's something we've talked about a lot is like, you got to really want it. if you want to engage in the TLC, you got to put in the effort to figure it out, because there's just no script of like what to do. Follow this step, then do this step, then do this step, and then you're in. The initiation rite of being in the TLC is kind of going through the work of familiarizing yourself with the different people in the TLC and in the flotilla, as Grim Grizz calls it, this flotilla of channels, and watching enough of their content, their conversations, engaging on the Bridges of Meaning Discord, on X, watching PVK's videos. There is a lot of that stuff, but it's really, what it really is getting to know people, like this is where I credit Neil Daedalus with seeing the spiritual meta pattern behind the pattern. It's the difference between an actual, a community of people that emerged out of social media that are actually social, that aren't ideological, that aren't just talking about ideas and making content. We are doing that, but we're becoming friends. We're building relationships. We are using social media for, I think it would be its intended purposes, which is to connect people socially. Not just to, I don't know, not just to like become an influencer or to make money or to build a platform or to whatever. And this is a lot of the conversation that I've had. Pause. I gotta go hug someone. Okay, I'm back post hug. And then, but then once you build some of those relationships, and or create some of those relationships, because I said that recently, if you're not using social media to be creative, stop using it. And you can be creative, educating, teaching, sharing aspects of your life, sharing knowledge, sharing wisdom. I mean, there's tons of that stuff on YouTube. I use it all the time for fixing stuff, or like working on my car, or whatever. Like how do you do this? Do we need a musical interlude? Okay, PVK. PVK asked for it. Here we go. Here we go. This is also steep slope. Okay. Musical interlude. Part of this is part of the culture. It's part of the branding. I think a lot of that, that's Grim Grizz stuff. So like Grim Grizz is a person in the flotilla of channels. He coined the term flotilla. This is what happens, is like, it's this loosely associated grouping of people. Sometimes they float in and they float out. Do we have an image? Let's look up an image of a flotilla. Flotilla images. Look, Free Gaza flotilla. Okay, yeah, let's share this. Oh, comments, stop. I don't need to stop. Here we go. We'll share the screen of a flotilla. So like this, flotilla, this thing, do we see? It's like a board game thing. It's what it makes me think of is the excellent movie Waterworld with, what's his name? What is his name? Help me out. Yeah, I should have played it when I went for a hug. That was true. That would have been the little interlude. I'm not good at branding yet. But yeah, I have not heard of Nancat. But anyhow, the Waterworld, what's his name? Costner. I'm sorry. Thank you guys. Kevin Costner. Thank you. Chezi. If I open this up, Chez, you better come in here. because I want to see your beautiful dumb face. Chezi and I communicated a little bit. He sent me some nice little messages recently, and it was lovely. Happy Purim, belated Purim. Were we still in it? Thanks, buddy. Kevin McAllister. It's not Kevin McAllister, Kevin Costner. But the flotilla, it's if you imagine, I mean, I think the image is beautiful. This is where Griswold Gaius Grimm of the some level LARPing protocol thing, as he calls it, I don't know. Grim Grizz is very steep slope, but he's a mimetic genius, and he's kind of a he is a very shaman-like visionary in a lot of ways. And in this post-internet landscape where it makes me think of some comment a long time ago from Nick B. This is an old poll of the TLC. But Nick B. of the TLC, I think PVK has a playlist. PVK needs a playlist for his playlist. He has so many playlists, they're hard to even navigate. It's unbelievable. But he has a Nick B playlist, because I think Nick and PVK have spoken 7 times or something. For a long time, he was the leader. He was the highest of the number of conversations with PVK. But Nick B lives in the Pacific Northwest somewhere. He's a knife maker. He's a really interesting dude. I don't think he really participates that much anymore. He kind of went into the Vervaeke world for a while. For Cult Nick. Yeah, he had been brilliant dude. Cool. I actually have his phone number. I don't know if it's still it. I don't communicate with him that much. But Nick was one of the early OG randos, and a term coined by Cassidy Vanderclay, or Vanderkamp, not Vanderclay. See, this is the thing. When you have a history, when you have a culture emerges that is connected to a history of a group as it emerges and grows, these things are inevitable. These things just happen. They're part of what creates a culture is language, is in-group language. This is very Heideggerian. Dasein. Language and place are 2 primary things that shape a culture. Can you even have a culture without a shared language and a place? I don't know. These are all interesting. Yeah, all you Dutch people are the same. And so Nick, back to the flotilla. Nick made a comment once in a reply to me in a video way back early in the day. And he was saying that the internet is a kind of flood that was a great equalizer and a leveler of access to information. That's a little bit of why I call it Gutenberg 2.0. The printing press did the same thing. It was a flood. Boom. All of a sudden now we have literacy. Everybody else can read. It changed. The medium shift changed hierarchies and expert classes and structures and institutional bodies. The way that we formed corporate bodies pre and post Gutenberg fundamentally shifted. And we evolved into that. That same kind of thing happened with the medium of the internet. And Nick described it as it was like an ocean. It was a flood where all of the different, we used to have signals where that had certain institutional connections where we'd be like, okay, this is a meaningful data point. This is a signal. The internet just leveled it. But now out of the medium and the technology of the internet, new hierarchies are emerging. New things are growing within this new medium. And people are coupling together communities floating on the ocean of the internet and social media. So yeah, electricity. So we had literacy and now we have electricity. And that is a new thing too. Younger people, this is part of the thing of listening. We talked about Afriel. I talked about President Foxman. I talked about Afriel's kind of I think we were saying that, or somebody was saying that the other day, is you're not maybe necessarily a Zoomer, but you're like an adopted Zoomer because you have such electricity, such internet literacy. But we are this community that emerged out of that, and and it's a flotilla, and there are different channels. That's probably the way that we think of this, because it emerged I would say the primary medium, because this is back to the whole Ben Jobe conversation. How do I get involved? It's hard for me to get, again, it's hard for me to give you a prescription. You have to, participation is the ritual. You have to participate. How? You have to figure it out. We're this loose flotilla of channels. There's offline, there are offline chats and group chats. There are private conversations that happen. Some people have each other's phone numbers. We talk on the phone. We have recorded conversations like I did with Ben, or that I've been trying to do more regularly and recently. There are live streams on the channels. There's the Bridges of Meaning Discord, which, like I was saying to him, is largely, as far as I know, dead. I don't know that a lot of people use it that much, but that's something that works. And so, like, how do you get involved? You participate, and then you figure it out. And you, through your initiation, because all true knowledge comes through initiation, you begin to learn the language. You begin to learn the terms. You might figure out, like, for recurrent patterns and topics that are talked about. Different channels have their own different things. My channel, I'm going to talk about hell a lot. I'm going to talk about personalism a lot. I'm going to talk about universalism a lot. I'm going to talk about the nature of perception and Owen Barfield a lot. I'm going to talk about the evolution of consciousness a lot. These are all ideas that I think are important and that I really like. Those are topics I'm going to talk about, but also one of the things I'm very passionate about is doing live streams. This is the new, I think, this is what I told Ben. I think that the current spirit, because all corporate bodies in their various mediums have spirits, and spirits move where they will. They kind of move, and you can't really trace exactly where they're moving and how they're moving, but you can see it if you pay attention. I think the current spirit of the TLC is, I think there's a couple shifts that are happening. I think right now, the current spirit of the TLC is happening in live streams and in like this kind of thing, what I'm doing right now. And I think that different flotilla channels have different ways that they do live streams. This is my format. I open it up. I talk about what I'm thinking. It's just verbal, extemporaneous, wink at Neil diarrhea. Like when Neil gets nervous, it's just bleech out his mouth. Well, out of the other end, but you get it. That's a reference to Neil's latest reconstructing his deconstruction. Yeah, whether or not MJ is here to hate on you, that's part of it. Like, we have our gargoyles in the TLC. Even that, like, what does that mean? You won't know until you've been initiated, because there's history to it. There's a culture. That's inevitable. Like, you can't, there is no view from nowhere. There is no, like, common language that just everyone can use, that everyone understands. You don't even have that. Sorry, I need to hit the cough button. You don't even have that in academia. You can think you have that. That's part of the delusion and the spell casting of modernity. But there is no common language. We've learned that through the meaning crisis. What does anything mean? What is the definition of something? Okay, what does that mean? It's an infinite regressive meaning. And the only thing that can determine meaning is the person, because the person is the locus of all meaning. That's a Lukeism. A Lukeism is also a term that came out of this culture, because it's stuff that I make up to explain the way that I see reality. So live streams, I think, are where the current spirit of the TLC is. Here's a little thing. Here's a shout out to old Mr. Skankenstein, who I haven't seen here yet. Yeah, here you go. Parsons gets it. This is my channel. There are many like it. This one's mine. It's got my own particular flavor. But Skankenstein, I think the spirit of the TLC may start moving back into the written word. Some of that's happening. This little Zine, perhaps. Is there a website for it? Is there this little Zine? What's the website? Does anyone know? I should know this. Sorry, Skank. Would it be a Lukeism if it was made by someone else but sounded like it came from Luke? It's a good question. This little Zine, Substack. Check it out. Let's look at it. This little Zine, Substack. Substack. This is a new thing. A lot of people are, come on, try, is that the name of it? This Little Zine? When I try to search that on Google, it's not popping up. If somebody has the direct zine, This Little Zine, my bad. Mark, see? We're helping each other out. I don't know how to pronounce things. I don't know how to pronounce words. But anyhow, so the written word's coming back. A lot of people write. Chad's been writing a lot on Substack. So this is like part of the whole flotilla thing. Chad used to have man, am I going to have to play more branding? And doesn't matter. Okay. A lot of everyone in the comments here, I know every once in a while a new person comes in. Last time I live streamed with who I'm stepping on her toes right now, but with Claire Kaw of Secular Coranism. I had people in there that I've never seen before. Lukeisms aren't automatically canon, but they are a type of fan fiction that can rise to the level of canon if it's good enough. I like that. I think that's true. So this is back to the whole question that Ben was asking me. How do you participate? How do you get involved? This is what I would say, and there is no easy way. It takes skin in the game. And there's kind of a hierarchy. Like if you start writing on Substack, if you start having randos conversations with people, if you start reaching out to people in the flotilla and having conversations with them, that's a way to participate. Starting your own YouTube channel, having your own conversations, making monologue videos, making educational videos, making content, networking, connecting to people, because this is part of Estuary. So Estuary is a local, in real life expression that emerged, I think, out of TLC, out of the spirit of TLC. So now we have estuary groups all over the US and the world that are starting and emerging. Start an estuary group. An estuary group is how would you describe an estuary group? An estuary group is a group of people coming together to have meaningful conversations because they don't really have communities and spaces to talk about conversation, to talk about ideas and things in this particular way they want to talk about it. There's a protocol. Then there are people like Sam and people in Chicago, where there's a couple different estuary groups, I think, that don't really follow the protocol. This is the thing, is we're all playing. There are no rules. Part of this is serious play. We like to talk about ideas. We like to create. We're networking. We're building community. There's going to be connections that are made of people that I'm sure start to make businesses together, that do things together, that are building stuff in the real world together. And one of the things that I talked about with Ben is that the difference between growth and scale is that growth is slow. And PVK started to say this stuff, Paul Vanderklay. He started to say things that slow is beautiful, or like the slow food movement. This is something that is just like fast food. There isn't high quality, life-giving, nourishing, beautiful, holistic fast food. They're kind of antithetical to each other. There's probably degrees and a spectrum within that, but it's not. Slow is beautiful. Growing a garden, who had that term? Scale, I think that came up in the wonderful, which I knew I was going to reference it, so I put it in the description, the Daniel O.G. Rose conversation with Nate Heil of scale is like the Tower of Babel, and growth is like a garden. It's natural. It's organic. The weeds grow up with it. There's a time for weeding. There's trellising. There are vines. There are, it can't be. It has a different kind of organic structure to it than an identical kind of replicant ziggurat pyramidal kind of tower to reach the sky structure. One is alive. One is made up of dead constituent objects. It's a living temple, maybe a living body. And that kind of growth is slow. I don't know to what degree you can scale it. However, I did see this. I have not seen this yet, but I want to plug this because we also talked about two things. There's two areas I want to go, two things I got to remember. So I'm going to share this screen, share screen. You guys are just going to see my general YouTube pop-up stuff. Look, we got Preston Sprinkle. We have Jay Dyer. I don't know that I've ever watched a Jay Dyer video. I don't know that YouTube knows what to give me because I basically only watch TLC stuff here. So let's go to, where are you? Meaning code. Where are you? The meaning code. Are we sharing this? Yes. Okay. I saw that Karen just released this conversation. I don't know. I don't keep up with Karen's channel a ton. I need to go back and watch some. Like I watched all these Chris Green, DC Schindler things because Chris Green is awesome. But this one, Viv, what is his name? Visvanathan? This guy, A Way Forward with AI, principled scaling. Here's the thing. I'm skeptical of the term principled scaling. Principled to me seems to be like a kind of Gnostic, non-sacramental, not iconic, although whether or not Plato was really that in principles and what those really are, kind of idealism that I do not see as being sacramental and iconic. And it seems to me to just being like adding words onto something that could be scaling. But listen, I'm open and I trust Karen. Karen's great. I'll maybe go listen to that. So listen, Cal knows how to pronounce all this stuff because he's white on the outside, yellow on the inside. Are Indians yellow? Can I say that? Is that okay to say? Rewind it. Scale can be a machine word, right? But okay. Vishvanathan. Red. He's white on the outside, red on the inside. They're brown. Jeez. It's hard to tell. There's, some are darker than others. All right. Zep, great points about relationship. Where are your great points? Yeah, here we go. A romance over 30 years is much deeper. Yeah, it's the difference between, I guess many, many one-night stands and going from infatuation to commitment. Like, that's part of my whole thing is like, you never know really anything without initiation. That's commitment. To be initiated is to commit to something. You can't be initiated if you're not committing to something. To something. All right. I feel like more branding. No, I'll save the branding. Because I'm going to open this up. When I go to pin the comments and stuff, we'll do the more branding. And then I'll open it up and we can just hang out and chat. One other thing I want to talk about, because it's back to the whole Ben Jobe promotional video, which is this live stream is just a promotional video to check that out. Check him out. Can you check him out? That's my Matthew McConaughey. Listen, I'm Orthodox. Get your scripture out of here. Ooh, that's something else I just remind myself I want to talk about. But in the racism color key, Indians were red, East Asians were yellow. Thank you. Racism color key. If there is such a thing, that's awesome. So yeah, principles, liturgies. I'm excited. I know that Daniel OG Rose is Marcus Scher is trying to talk to him or set up a talk with him. I think you might want to be talking to him. I think this whole idea of law and spirit and institutions and principles and liturgies, because laws, exceptions, and rules, right? There are rules. The exception proves the rule, and it's always good to have rules, but you always have to have exceptions to prove the rule, which is also a lot of what Nate talked about and how how they were talking about the open circle thing, and like being the open circle is very often you're going to appear heretical as the embodied personal open circle and not the closed Ouroboros. You are going to appear heretical, and it's going to feel very uncomfortable. That's when they were talking about how non-rationality, and then they decided together that non-rationality is probably a better term than like trans-rationality or super-rationality, because of the discomfort with it. Because when you are actually embodying that open circle, it's going to feel, that death is going to feel uncomfortable. If all of your open circle stuff never feels uncomfortable, you're probably not really dying. And you're probably not really doing the Christian thing. You're not really probably being a living sacrifice. Henosis by kenosis. Thank you, Sam Spencer. All right. Ben Jobe, again, another plug. Check it out. Like, follow him, talk to him, reach out to him, give him a hug. Give him a hug. Gotta hug him. Like this. This is my... Let's do some show and tell. This is also a Luke thing that I do sometimes. This is my daughter's piñata that she made for school. What is it? Bonus saving throws on Grim Stream. Bonus points on Grim Stream, if you can guess what this is. Listen, Grim, I just decided I can give bonus points on your streams. Ooh, more show and tell. Guess what I just got? If you guess. If you can guess. Savings, you got it. You got it. Dude, great. God, I love you. The edge of being is the edge of meaning. All right. This is what I got. Such a tease. Such a tease. I decided to finally just get this. This is the McLuhan book where he has the quote about in Christ, the medium and the message are one, which is iconic knowing, which is being the white stone name, which is being Christ, the eternal Tao, Christ in me. That is when any medium, including social media and the internet, perhaps even AI, when you are manifesting Christ within this medium, that's what you're doing. That's what you're doing, my boys. Even if you don't call it that, even if you don't use that language, if you are doing it, if you are acting as if you believe it, I keep spitting. I'm spitting truth, but I'm also spitting on my keyboard, and it's disgusting. I'm really fired up. I'm salivating. Okay, this is the other thing I want to talk about. How do you get involved in the TLC? How do you do things? One of the things we talked about in there is this littlecorner.net. It is a, I mean, what do you call this? It's a search. It's a search engine. Tell me, what should we, here we go. What should we search? What should we search for? Say you're coming, you go to this website. It's a TLC search engine. It collates, it connects all these different channels. Let's see what channels are on there. Right now, entries, there are 20, can we see this? There are 21,430 entries, 71 channels. The top channels, Vanderclay, Fadarecci, Jacob Fadarecci, Jonathan Demir, Griswold Graham, Jordan B. Peterson. Plurific content creators. Can we see what channels are in here? You can search by years. Newest first. You can change all these parameters, metrics. How can we tell what channels are in here? I feel like I should know how to do this. See, like I haven't played around on here a lot. But anyhow, let's search something. All channels. Here. So these are the channels. Here you go. Ben was asking, can I zoom in? Stop it. Ben was asking, I'm going to zoom more. I want to zoom more. Is this working? I want to zoom more. That's what that is Halle Berry on that disturbing movie with What's his name? Sling Blade. What's up, Sling Blade? What's the guy's name? You know what I'm talking about? He was in a movie with Halle Berry. You got to really search for pineapple. Okay, we can do that. But where she talks that way, she's like, I just want to feel good. I just want to feel good. It's a disturbing movie. Okay, let's see what channels are in here. We have, is this showing up? I can't tell. Because when I click out of it, Billy Bob Thornton, correct. Monsters Ball. I'm just going to assume this is working because I'm just assuming you're seeing my screen here. So we have Equality Existence. This is Sevilla King's channel. We're going to do a little history lesson of the TLC. She is the one who coined the term, this little corner of the internet, which I think, and this is how these things evolve, because I think even when Sevilla coined that, I would say Sevilla is not active in this little corner of the internet very much, at least the way that it's used now. She's still making videos, but she doesn't really participate in live streams and any of that kind of stuff. She has gone to some conferences. She went to Thunder Bay. I got to meet her there. Lovely lady. I think she's still making videos. I don't really keep up with her because we're acquaintances. We are not friends. And I watch my friends' channels. But she coined the term, this little corner of the internet. And I think in her mind, she was thinking the group of content creators, but mainly luminaries under Jordan Peterson of like Peugeot, Vervaeke, Paul Vanderklay. Now the way that I use this little corner of the internet is the flotilla of channels that emerged out of the personalist community of Paul Vanderklay and the randos conversation, where we random people from the internet, and that's a term from Cassie Vanderkamp, about their stories. That's what makes it personal. And so that community of friends in the flotilla is what I think of as this little corner. Adam's Fall. This is Adam. He is a Mormon in the corner. A Mormon in the corner. Risto is also a big fan of Mormons. He makes videos. Great guy. Check it out. He makes 10-minute videos. He's trying to make, so that's his flavor. He's trying to make videos just on information, thoughts, ideas, things that he has. They're a little bit more formed and scripted. They're not like freewheeling like my videos. And he tries to make them 10 minutes so that they're digestible. You can go and just watch it. It's not just like, which is a much easier ask than saying like, it's a much easier slope in than just be like, go watch Luke Thompson. No one knows what he's talking about. And he goes all over the place and he uses all his own made up terms like mosaic vision. And in order to understand what that means, you have to like watch him and befriend him and pay attention to him for 10 years. And people are like, no, thank you. Click away. Andrew with the bangs. She's not around anymore, but for a while she was very active. And I think, I don't know which wave this is of the TLC. Wave 2 of the TLC, when it was very Bridges of Meaning focused. And she had a podcast, had a lot of conversations. She would pop into Bridges of Meaning voice rooms, voice chats. Afriel, he's in the comments. He often does late night video game streams, but where they talk about much deeper ideas. Him and President Foxman and others are big. They're big gamers, video gamers. How much of this we're going to talk about? Bridges of Meaning Hub. Is that even still around? That used to be Chad's. That was like one of Chad's things, which now he has a channel, which is just Chad. I think it's Chad Matthew Albin, which is that under Chad the Alcoholic? Well, never mind. Anyhow, we're going to keep doing this. But Chad used to have the Friday Morning Name List, but then he deleted it all and it's gone. This is all part of the history. How much of this lore and stuff do you even know what I'm talking about? Well, you wouldn't if you weren't around and you haven't heard these things a lot. That's part of the initiation. Charlie's Little Corner. I don't keep up with a lot. Chris Howard always live streams in the morning and he just goes through his YouTube history and people come on and hang out and chat. Chris Pacau. Again, me even doing that. That's insider stuff. That's insider jokes. Chris Pacau. He's not around anymore. Gotten pretty involved with family. Does a lot of music. He was involved probably in like late second wave. Seabax, Climbing Mount Sophia. Seabax, our journalist. Climbing Mount Sophia. Ken Lowry. His brother's around. Aaron Lowry is kind of around and adjacent and is on X, but doesn't really make YouTube videos. You know, there's all these different people. Colton Kirby. I don't even know who that is. Corner Citizen, my friend Alan. Great dude. Deep Talks. This is Paul Antleitner. Einsoff. This is Yosef. Emily, Food Truck Emily. Eric Seitz. He wouldn't even consider himself to be part of the corner. Friends with Mark Lefevre. He does Monday night live streams. He's a Catholic dude. Used to be Father Big Mac. You know, Ethan Kahi, Jacob Federecci, Nick Freewillian, From Whom All the Blessings Flow. This is Sam, Michigan Man Sam, I believe. Gavin Palmer, Grail Country. See, like I know a lot of this stuff because I've been around. I'm deep. You know, I don't need to keep going through this. Go check it out yourself, right? Can't even get out of here now. How do I get out? Help! Anyhow, go check out TLC search. Did we come up with an idea of what we wanted to search? Go look at the list. That's a great resource to find out lots of different people in the channel. And then I think it just searches YouTube, I believe. But it's a good way to find stuff. Like, when has anyone in the corner talked about this topic? Or this person. I want to find this person. Search for tacos. Let's see. Okay, we'll do this just for fun. And then I think I said no matches for this. Wow. Fuzzy. No matches for tacos? Oh, that's just maybe Chad the Alcoholic. All channels. Tacos. Here we go. Boom. So here, we're seeing how this works. This gives you a breakdown of all the different channels that it's come across. Randos United, which was like an old school, early, this little corner of the internet thing, which was like a group channel thing started by my friend Jeff, the guy who brought me out of the lurk, essentially, because I reached out to Paul to talk to Jeff, and he started Randos United, and it was a place where like a bunch of us just had conversations. But apparently we've talked about tacos on there. There's so many good old Randos United videos. Great thing to go check out if you want. But that's the problem, is it's not current. And now everybody wants everything that's current, which is why live streams are so hot right now. There's 494 matches for tacos. Ethan Kahi, here we go. Land of 10,000 pluralities. What? Tax? That is not a taco. Is that what it's? Brass tacks? Is that what it's matching? Okay. Tacos. Here we go. Afriel Pilotson talking about Brian of College Station doing his like estuary taco meetup. There you go. There's some tacos. Chris Howard talking about tacos. So this, you can change all these parameters, you know. You can, I suppose tax would go away if you eliminate fuzzy, you know, but whatever. Go check it out. It's an interesting thing. Yeah, turn off fuzzy. Guess what? I'm going to hang out with Risto later today. We are going to meet. We are going to go to the Somali Mall. We are probably going to have, you know, a good time. You know, I'm going to meet him in real life. I'm going to hug him. I'm going to smell him. In real life meetup. If you donate to McMo's Ko-Fi, which I don't know what it is, look it up. McMo's Ko-Fi. I will tell you how Risto smells. If you donate a lot to his Ko-Fi, I'll maybe even submit to taking a selfie and sending it to you of me and Risto. Donate to McMo's Ko-Fi. Yeah. So that's good. That's going to be good. All right, let's anyhow, that's kind of, this is basically like, I mean, I think I fulfilled the title, bringing the social back to social media. I think that's what the TLC is doing. We are trampling down the algorithm by the algorithm, and whatever, algorithm be damned. You know, you're pushing shorts. You're not pushing long form content. It's hard to get into long form content. People's attention span, people are playing with shorts in the TLC. People's attention span is diminishing. I don't know. I think that there is still value in people wanting to tell their story and being seen, knowing and being known. I think there's a lot of value in that. And and we can play with ways to do that in short form content, but like for somebody to tell them their story, you at least need a randos, like a decently long talk, you know? So, all right, I'm gonna open this up. People can come on and talk. And what is interesting, I mean, I have the rules of my live streams. I am opening this up to show hospitality. Don't come in and take a dump on my living room floor. Don't be rude. Don't straw man. Seek to steal man ideas. Also seek to star man, to see the good in the other people, even when you disagree. But also just come on to hang and chill, and we can have some serious conversations. We can also tell jokes. We can. I'm of the opinion that YouTube doesn't have to be a place only for content and information and trying to colonize people with your ideas. That's boring. Ko-fi.com/McMosav. I will tell you, if you donate, McMo will let me know. I will tell you how Risto smells, and I'll maybe send McMo a selfie of us where you can see us together. You can see who's taller. Who do you think's taller? Me or Risto? What color eyes do you think he has? All interesting things. All things you can find out if you donate. Yeah, so those are the rules. If you come in, treat other people how you want to be treated. If you want to treat other people like an asshole and just like try to corner them and pin them down, I suggest you don't treat people that way. And all right, and go watch Daniel, OG Rose, and Nate. Maybe go watch Karen talk with the Indian name I can't pronounce about AI and principled scaling. An interesting idea, if nothing else. I'll probably watch it just because now it's in my head. And watch my conversation with Ben Jobe. All right, I'm going to play a branding. I'm going to pin the comment, and then we can talk for a while. Let's say a half an hour-ish. Okay, ish. All right, let's see. Media assets. What do we want to play?
Over time, the more I interact with you, the more I realize you've been right this whole time. Not always, but sometimes.
Oh, Sam! I love you too.
I also know how to push your buttons, but
always. Oh, Sam!
As I was walking down the street, a billboard caught my eye. The things that were upon it would make you laugh and cry. The board was torn and tattered from the storm the night before. The wind and rain had done its job, and this is what I saw. Chew chocolate-covered mothballs, they always satisfy. Drink Wrigley Spearmint root beer, it'll never leave you dry. Smoke Coca-Cola cigarettes, or know the reason why. Brush your teeth with dial soap and watch the suds go by. As I recovered from my shock, I went upon my way. I hadn't gone but half a block, and what to my dismay, another billboard caught my eye, and like the one before, the wind and rain had done its job, and this is what I saw. Take your next vacation in a brand new Frigidaire. Learn to play piano in your winter underwear. Simonize your baby with a Hershey's candy bar. Texas Oil, the beauty soap, is used by all the stars. Now doctors say that babies shouldn't smoke until they're 3, and people over 35 should bathe in Lipton tea. And if you want the world to be a better place by far, buy a record of the song and smash it with your car. Hey!
Whoa, intense. What up, Ian? How do you pronounce your name? Ian? Ian? I can hear myself.
Sorry. Now it should be good. What's up, bro?
You know, I'm just doing a little stream here on trying to redeem social media for being social.
Yeah. I I like the stream. I like the theme. I was just gonna tell a story from yesterday. I drive for Spark, which is like the Walmart Grubhub, and I was going through this little town near where I live, and there was a guy with his coffee trailer set up in a parking lot, and he was playing the guitar. And so I was like, oh, that's a cool dude. I should probably go buy something from him and see what he's up to. And we talked for like an hour when I stopped, and there were lots of customers that came in between our conversation. But it was like super authentic right away. And it was really, really enjoyable because, because he was being authentic. And it started the company, and he was getting tired of a job, and he broke up with his girlfriend, and he got super depressed and was suicidal and tried to kill himself. And he like several times, and this was just like part of the opening conversation. And I guess that came out later, but he said it was a really dark time, and he met a group to deal with that. And through that group, one of the sponsors came over a bunch, and he would make them coffee. And they were like, this is really good. And then one time he was making them coffee, and he was talking about how he was just a man-child until he started this business when he was 40, and it's really matured him, even to the point where like he wants to have kids now. That was something he didn't want to do before. And it was just making me think that the social thing is so important. Like, I have developed a knack for that. I have some innate bent towards people, I think. But just knowing that people that you would otherwise like, I could have just stopped and bought coffee from Economy or whatever, but I knew to ask him about him episodes of my podcast already, and I was telling him about the TLC, although it is really hard to like tell people how to get into the TLC. I was like, well, you just gotta, here's a couple things I like, but they might not be things that you like. And, but at one point he mentioned community and society as sort of like well, not society, but like relationships as a sort of human nutrient. And it's something that we sort of like have to cope with the lack of it in our diet these days. People that want this, they want just even the TLC version of it. But yesterday when I was getting to chat with him in person, we were making eye contact. We shook hands at the end. You know, these are really important things. Your day with Risto today is going to be another level of what it is that we all get out of the community here, and its desire for this, even maybe biological need, like what he was saying. There's a nutrient-rich community relationship thing that we need. And I don't know if you saw Jordan Hall's thing about the transition yesterday. He went on Ann Leitner to talk about it with him. Good, I recommend it to everybody. But the main takeaway for me was like, yeah, like AI is going to change fundamentally how everything works, and a bunch of people are probably going to die, and there's going to have to be massive reorganizing of everything. But people are always going to be the ones that are capable of navigating that. And only some people have to be broken because they rely too much on the system, and other people are more like, well no, this is from problems that it throws at you, but relationships are going to be the thing that moves through the transition with us. That's just like kind of obvious. It's going to be us relating to each other, and I guess some people might do like the Wall-E recliner chair floating around in the spaceship thing. What does Grizz call it? The rat utopia. But I think more people are going to recognize the need for genuine human interaction.
Yeah, dude, that's a good. You were cutting out a little bit, but I think if just letting you talk and letting the gaps come, I think people can piece together pretty much what you were saying. I think it hit all the high points. Just cut out your ums. But so that was good. And then your story of the coffee thing is good too. That's part of why. One of the thoughts that I came up with is completely agree about communion and relationship being essential, or even like having a good conversation. Like I was telling my wife the other day, I think I've learned TLC has really, really helped me how to be a better conversationalist. I think it really has, because I think it's taught me how to listen a lot better. It's taught me how, like all the stuff that I talk about, whether it's steel manning or whatever, because there are people from such diverse perspectives that you just can't really easily default to typical safety zones that I think are assumed when you don't have that kind of diversity, or you just fight, and you can't do that in the TLC. And then the whole randos thing, and like Paul is, I mean, we're going to take the cosmic donut, the torus of the TLC, and I'm just going to glaze it, just like Krispy Kreme glaze it, Paul Vanderklay. But Paul, that's what he does in the randos. I think that's what he just listens to people basically, and it's really like, I mean, this is why I love psychoanalysis so much. He listens to people without judgment. He doesn't just like focus on some idea where he could just be like, but well, I don't know what I think about that. It's kind of like what I was talking about the other day of like closing the deal. I think when I was much more ideological, I used to just be like, oh, somebody said something wrong. I have to like correct that. Like I need to fix this.
Mm-hmm.
They need to know. When you're like a truth first type person, I think you just jump on all that kind of stuff really quickly, and you suck at conversations. You can't just like go to a coffee shop guy and listen to him and have him tell you your story and then actually get human connection. You're actually undercutting the very thing that we all need and want. And so that's one thing for sure. And then I think I had another point, but I forgot it when I was talking to you about all this. Oh, the Jordan Hall thing. I'll have to check that out, because I did get a hug from Jordan Hall too. He's a hugger. Yeah, and this is it too, Afriel. Like this is something I feel I've mentioned this a lot, but like it's how to win friends and influence people. Like the second chapter, it begins with like, it essentially says that over and over, and it's just like, if you get nothing else out of this book, just get this. Like it will do you no good. If someone doesn't want to listen to you, it doesn't matter what you have to say. Like it just does not matter. And see, listen, even actively right now, Yosef is disagreeing with me. You can be truth first in TLC and still love people. Well, and this is connected to Chezi. What's up, buddy? I'll just finish this thought and see what you have to say. But this is connected to a lot of what Daniel was talking about with Nate, and even Gödel in like internally coherent systems. Someone who is truth first, or who thinks that they're truth first, in my opinion, Like they're doing that because that's the internally coherent system given all their life constraints that make sense to them. And so like if I from the outside as someone who doesn't agree with that, if I want to connect to that person and relate to that person, as Afriel is saying, and Cal, my friend Cal was saying this to me in a personal voice message the other day, I have to meet them where they're at. How else am I going to meet them? Am I going to try to meet them where they're not at? Like that won't work. And so like that's part of the, I think, you know, Zitzum, the self-emptying as we are modeling God, that you of love to meet someone where they're at. You have to, and I, you know, paradoxically maybe that is a truth that I'm trying to pursue. That very thing is giving up maybe my limited understandings of truth for loving and meeting the other person. What's up, Hezi? Good to see you, my friend.
Hey, man. Hope you're doing well. Two things I thought about as you were saying that, which Yosef and I were talking about a little, but it's still like half baked. But it relates to, like you're saying about, you know, bringing back the social to social media, and also seeing people, meeting people where they're at. So let's try to put two of these things together. There is something we call the Torah of Aaron and the Torah of Moses. And the Torah of Moses is very cerebral. There's the law. It's very intellectual.
Yeah.
And then there's the Torah of Aaron, who's really meeting people where they're at. And we could see this most clearly in the golden calf, right? Where Aaron participates in building this calf for them, so to speak. And there was an issue over there because sometimes if you're meeting people where they're at all the time, right? Next thing you know, you're at the bottom, right? And then the idea of Aaron is that he pursues peace and pursues love, but he brings people back to the Torah of Moses. And that sort of relates over here where I agree with you. Yosef said, like, you know, we could still have truth and still, you know, find love over here, which is, you're right that we have to meet people where they're at and be armed with Aaron's Torah as well, which is primarily love and really using everything we can to better understand. And I would even argue that, again, if you're armed in your toolkit or your utility belt with different understandings, even of theology, that allows you to open up the conversation when you are speaking in that Aaron mode. Obviously, you have your own north, which is your own Torah of Moses, right? Which everyone has to follow. Another note about this, though, that I want to say about the social media, because the social media itself is this is a technology that we're playing with. This idea that I've been playing with of artificial intelligence in Hebrew is called Binah Malachutit. And Binah, unlike Chokhmah, right? Chokhmah is wisdom, and Binah would be understanding. And there's a sense where it seems scary, but if we do it properly and we could offload our understanding to the artificial intelligence, a great example of that is where you could see this in Waze, right? With Waze or any sort of GPS, we're using this more often right now. And like, you know, our fathers that had like the whole map in their head, we no longer have that anymore. That's not necessarily a bad thing if we fill that extra space and that extra time with chokhmah, means we want to get back to this place where we could actually have wisdom. And I have a flash of lightning from these interactions, from these conversations. So the fact that there's no structure over here per se is what allows for this natural, intuitive conversation. And if done properly, if we are putting our time of worrying about quote unquote money or how I figure out the map or how am I actually going to figure out these taxes, if I could do all of that on the computer or on the AI, and I could now really come back to my intuitive sense and potentially be that prophet again, you know, be that person that could actually perceive and see around him and start weaving these things together. So I think part of bringing back the social to social media is also, again, we're using YouTube against YouTube, right? We want to be taking this technology and making sure we're dividing it properly and orienting ourselves properly. But
yeah, we just need to know who's full of shit and who isn't.
there's also that beautiful line, Claire. Right. We also would want to know
people who get to the point without making a speech, because
but I know your point, Claire. The idolaters,
doing it
they should all
to show status, right? If you keep listening to me, it means I'm important and nobody interrupts me, even though they don't know what I'm talking about, but they let me go on.
Do you feel it's that, or could it be that I just enjoy talking to Luke?
Well, you could make it shorter, for the sake of others, I know, but you like, being the rabbi, and I guess you are, given that honor.
All right, Claire, I see that this was obviously too much for you to handle, which would wonder why you keep on coming back to these spots where people just go on meandering with no purpose. But I want to be fair to
people, save time and energy and not have to.
You're right.
So I heard you, Claire. Claire, I heard you say you need to know who's full of shit and who isn't. You're full of shit, Claire. I just saved a ton of time. You're full of shit, Claire.
Okay, so what have I said that is untrue or illogical?
You live in London, Claire.
Are you calling London a shithole?
No, I'm calling you full of shit because
so
if you actually believed in Quranism, you wouldn't be living in London. You might be living in Morocco. You might be living in Saudi Arabia. You might be living in Tehran. You might be living in Malaysia. You might be living in Indonesia. You might be living anywhere else. But you would not be living in London.
No, I actually have to be in the West to show that, it's for Westerners. If I lived
you have to be in the West because you don't want to live in a shithole, and you are proving
actually, a lot of people are.
But by revealed preference through your actions, you are revealing.
All right. Sorry. So this is this.
Oh, come on. Let us argue.
No, I don't want to. And I already talked about that. So, no. So part of it is, so here's the thing. There are times when I will allow certain things to happen on my channel that I don't like, because I think that's good for you sometimes, because I'm not always right about everything. But at the end of the day, it is my channel, and I don't have to let you come on and take it over and do whatever you want. I don't have to do that.
Okay, so it's Ian's time to monologue again.
How clear is that? I don't have to be colonized by you.
Monologue again.
Huh?
Okay. It's time for Ian to monologue again, right?
I mean, Claire, here's the thing: is are you a colonizer that you come here, you don't like what Ian has to say or what I have to say, or you
it's boring.
Why are you here? Then why are you here?
Well, okay, I don't see why we can't have a proper conversation. It doesn't have to be nicey, and I agree with you, but, and crap like that. Why don't we just get down to brass tacks and say what we think is a problem? And just when Jacob and I are getting there, you have to, nanny us. You're always nannying us.
Okay, Claire, here's the thing. I will add you back to the screen. Sorry, Jacob. I will add you back to the screen if you decide to play nice, because here's the thing, you're a lot like T-Grog or something. Here's the thing is you say the same things over and over and over, and I understand your points, but you will say why can't we just have a formal nice conversation? I understand that's what you want to do. I understand it. I get it. But if I don't, that's not the only way to have a meaningful or a good conversation. I don't have to do what you want all the time. That is you being a colonizer. I don't have to.
Look, I mean, yeah, you have to set rules and boundaries and stuff. And I'm glad you're starting to recognize that.
Thank you. Well, listen, I don't want to be just full of shit and wrong all the time, Jacob. I'm trying to learn from you.
I don't think I've ever said you're full of shit. You're wrong all the time, but you can set your clock by it. But I like you. You're a good person. You're the quintessence of the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Well, trying not to be. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Well, and this is part of it too, is like Jacob and I, this is part of the corner. This is part of why there is no formal confessional orthodoxy here, because if there was, Jacob and I couldn't be friends. We couldn't, like, this is why it's really a relational thing. Because like you and I disagree about tons of stuff.
Wrong. While I love you, I think there are creeds and confessions in the Jordan Peterson sphere. And I think that the creeds and confessions are what allow us to be what we are and have the conversations that we do. And unfortunately, as Paul very intelligently and eloquently points out, a lot of these creeds and confessions are they're unspoken, and the thing is, Paul likes them to be that way, whereas I think that these pretenses that there aren't creeds of confessions, where what does Paul do? His Weasley or Jackally or whatever he calls it. You know what I'm talking about? He talks about lions and jackals, right? Or lions and
lions and foxes.
Lions and foxes. That's it. Foxes, right? He talks about his foxy, like he's being foxy, and it's like, stop being foxy. Be a lion.
So foxy.
What?
Paul is so foxy. Silver fox. Well, bald fox. But no, I agree with you. There are, having rules is inevitable. It's inevitable, and they're either explicit or implicit.
Right. And I would prefer explicit to implicit, because I think there's a level of, look, I like apocalypse. I like revelation. I like the truthfulness and people actually the knowledge of God covering the earth as the waters cover the seas.
Right.
And so and I think that's the point of Logos, right? Is to actually speak the truth and explain what is the order that pertains in the world, which is why I am so opposed to these implicit creeds, these implicit rules, these quiet, don't say it, be foxy. We've had there's a Mishnah in the sayings of the fathers, be the tail of lions and not the head of foxes. I would much rather be the tail of a lion than the head of a fox.
Yeah, there's a lot of wisdom in what you're saying, and the way I would probably respond to that is that I think in the end, like in the eschaton, that's true. I think whatever is hidden will be revealed. Whatever was covered will be shouted from the mountaintops. I think that's true. But I think this is where I would point to like Rilke or whatever. Like the point is to live everything. I think truth and explicit stuff sometimes can do more harm than good until people are ready to embody it.
Okay. Do you realize the irony of you as a Christian who believes that it is here and it is now and not yet, etc., 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 saying to me, yeah, in the future eschaton, but right now we're not at the point where we can speak Logos truthfully.
Well, I think you can. That's what saints do in the Christian frame.
Okay, so be a saint and speak your rules.
Yes, but part of being a saint is being a relation. And so it's kind of like what Afriel was saying earlier. It doesn't do me any good to tell like I know this from parenting. It doesn't do me any good to Bible beat my kids with the rules if it's just going to create rebellion.
Correct. Nobody said anything about Bible beating, but if you don't say what the rules are, if your kids don't know what the rules are, if you hide the ball from your kids,
sure,
which is precisely what this implicit creedalism does, right? it's hiding the ball for fear of it's imagine if you never told your kids, yes, we're Christian. You're like, no, we're just boomers, and you can be any religion you want, and if you became a Buddhist tomorrow, I would be just as happy, right? It's bullshit. You would not be just as happy if your son became a Buddhist tomorrow.
No, I mean, I was like, but we have these kinds of conversations all the time because we're navigating that right now as he gets ready for college and deciding where he goes and why he's going to go where he goes and what are his visions and hopes for the future. I just had that conversation with him this morning because he was like telling me some dream he had last night, and because something he really wants that he talks about really wanting is all my kids, and I mean, whatever, I guess I'm going to congratulate myself on like all my kids are they're not as like pro-natalist as me, but they all really love.
I congratulate your wife. I think she's probably a better parent than you are. Sorry, Luke.
No,
but
she's I'm not going to disagree. She's a great parent. And we're very different in the ways that we parent, but she's a wonderful woman.
And if she was not around, you would drive your kids crazy.
I agree. I think I've said that before. But so he really loves babies. He really has realized he really wants children. He likes kids, which is great. That's fantastic. And he wants to live close to us and have like a tight-knit nuclear family and go over to the grandparents and do all that. And I was telling him, well, where he decides to go to school, like that's just something to keep in his mind, because if that really is a long-term value of his, then where he goes to school probably really matters, like you're going to want to find a particular kind of woman. If you want family cohesion with our family and stuff, you're probably going to want your wife to be Orthodox, because on one hand, like there is kind of yes, I mean, do I want my kids to be Orthodox because I think it's the most true church? Yes. But even more so than that, like I want them to be Orthodox because I want to have ongoing continued relationship with them. And that's going to be a big part of our life. So like, because I see families at church where like intergenerational people are all there together, and that's awesome. Like I want that for my family. And so that's the kind of stuff that I tell him, which but I also know at the same time, like you can't, I don't know, there's lots of personal stories of our family that I could say where like, it's kind of the idea of the Bible thumping though, is like, I have other situations in my family where there are rules and my kids know the rules and the kids know my preferences. But I
would be incredibly, incredibly disappointed if your son became a Muslim.
I think it would depend on a lot of things.
I have no idea why you are like you have this fear of saying, yes, I don't want my kid to.
I already said that.
But you sound guilty about it.
It's not guilty. It's just like
It's like this is a backward religion that is obviously false. The Quran is incomprehensible without a context of Judaism and Christianity. It has destroyed every civilization that has ever adopted it. All the countries that live under Islam are shitholes. This is a very simple thing to say.
Yeah, I don't know all that. I mean, there are aspects of that where, like, I agree.
How many Muslim countries have you visited?
Me?
Have you ever been there?
None, I think. Well, and that goes that's me putting my money where my mouth is like you don't know anything through initiation. So
this is the thing. Once you actually go to a Muslim country, you end up living in London, just like Claire did.
Well, that's like
obviously, why would an intelligent human being want to live under Islam?
Well, and I'm not going to deny some of that. I mean, part of what I have conversations like this with Matt C. and some of these other guys who know a lot more about Islam and the history of Islam than I do. But like, aren't there, and you probably know this too, aren't there facets of Islam, fundamentalist like jihadist Islam is a relatively recent development, correct?
Yes, Islamism as opposed to actual Islam. Right. So
right.
We can talk about this stuff. Sure. But ultimately, like, you know that if you're in a country which which proclaims Islam as its religion, you're living in a shithole.
You haven't been to Iran.
I have. Hold on. Who are you talking to?
You were invited to go back and you refused.
Of course I refused, because I have seen
of
Iran.
course, you would never visit a
Claire,
Muslim
when
country.
have you been to
How
Iran?
many Muslim countries
Claire,
have you
when
visited?
did you go to Iran, Claire? When were you in Iran?
I'd love to go to Iran.
I will buy you the ticket, Claire. I will buy
Now's not a good time.
Bombing the crap out.
All right, guys.
But
All right.
can
All
we-
right. Jeez. Listen, I'll let it go a little bit, but like one of the rules is no talking over each other. Dang it. Dang it, guys. Now I feel like a guilty parent.
Hey, Luke. How
What's
you
up,
doing?
Mark? I'm doing
I'm good.
doing all right.
I just want to complain to Jacob that the way his flag is hanging, the sword that the lion's holding is kind of bent and it looks awful. So if he could fix that.
He's working on it backstage. They're in a timeout.
Oh, okay. You knocked everyone off. Good on
You were Jacob, you were both talking
your
over
stream,
each
man.
other. It's too hard. I can't do it. That's right. I will pull this car over. What, Ian?
It's your stream, it's your rules. You've made your rules.
I want to go back to an initial question. I think that. Oh,
you're all right. Go.
Sorry, can you hear me?
I can.
I wanted to go back to something you were mentioning about Paul listening to people during randos and the way that he listens without judgment. You said you like psychoanalysis. That's like obviously something that Carl Rogers really was a big forefather of for the whole thing. But really listening to people allows for them to do that apocalypse or revelation that Jacob was talking about. And I think that that's something that we've lost in identitarianism, might be the TLC word or the Luke word. Like when Jacob is saying Islamists lead to shithole countries, he's saying something that's too broad to be true, but like statistically, he might be able to prove that, you know? But then you could also have the statement that like Nazis were Christians, but that doesn't track both ways. They could have had a Christian. I'm thinking like there's some element of this intuitive conversation that Hezi was bringing up and that Claire kind of came against. It's like, well, actually, it's really good to have these implicit creeds do whatever nature of the creeds here allows for people to trespass them and reveal themselves sort of naturally. Like they just act naturally, and then you can be like, oh, that's the type of person that doesn't steel man, doesn't straw man, and doesn't have good faith participation in what it is that we're doing. And you just kind of police it also very naturally. Like, oh, I guess I'm not going to have as many conversations with that person.
Right. I mean, that's somewhat my preference. And like, even now, that's what Jacob said. This just means Claire gets to filibuster. And that's part of Claire's criticism.
I don't filibuster, do I?
Claire,
I mean, I get straight to the...
Claire, don't interrupt. That's a rule. If you can't listen, I'm letting you back on, and then you just break the rules again. And I guess this is like, if you do it again, I'm just going to remove you from the stream, and that'll be it for this time, because you have to follow the rules.
I don't filibuster. What does that mean?
A filibuster.
A
filibuster is when you just keep talking.
I get to the point, and I want to answer Jacob's accusation. So you think I would get more authority if I lived in some Muslim country telling Westerners what to do? Really? I'll go now, but consider that question.
Filibuster vigilantly. My name is Blue Canary, one note spell Lite.
We always got a good Mark song on a stream. But yeah, it's see, that's, I mean, I suppose like this is where I weave in and out. Like my whole stream, the whole stream was about this, the social aspect of it, is that if on a stream I determine, and this doesn't mean that we can't have hard conversations. It doesn't mean that we can't fight sometimes. It doesn't mean that we're not going to break the rules sometimes, because you have to break the rules sometimes. But if I, as the authority in the head of my channel, I don't know who the hell else it would be, determine that those are becoming improper and it's devolving into something that I don't think is beneficial and good and edifying, then I reserve the right to moot and boot. That's part of my thing.
Could you explain what star manning is?
Assuming the best in the person. So steel manning is like seeing the idea in the best possible light. Star manning is seeing the other person in the best possible light.
Why is that a good thing?
There's a star man waiting in the sky. Sorry.
I think that it's because then you just assume I think you don't impose bad intentions on the other person.
Why is that a good thing?
Because I think it's very hard to determine other people's intentions, and sometimes you can be wrong.
Correct. So why would you imply good intentions? How about you don't imply any intentions and you just look at their actions? And we have this rosy colored picture filter, which makes it's good if we pretend people are never evil and we see the good in everyone. How about we try to see the good and the bad, and we try to see things as they really are, as opposed to star manning and steel manning, or straw manning and whatever the opposite of star manning is. How about we actually try to see things as they are?
I mean, I think we're all trying to do that. The problem is I think that it's hard, and it's like the Vervaeke bullshitting and lying to yourself and all that kind of thing, which other people do, but we also do. One of the reasons, have you ever seen the movie Prisoners? Okay. One of my favorite films of like the last, I don't even know when it was made, 10, 20 years. That film is a very good reason why I think not relying on your own understanding is a good thing, because sometimes you're wrong, and sometimes you're wrong in a way that's real bad.
Have you met Lucky?
I think I've seen her. I don't want to misgender your dog. I think I've seen him on stream, but I have not. I met your other dog in real life, I think.
Yep. Happy has gone off to greener pastures.
Right. And then Mark also has a dog. Do dogs recognize each other on stream?
I don't think right now Lucky even realizes that's his own picture there. He does sometimes notice himself in reflections.
So here, Paul said this. I'll read Paul's thing, and then let's close with last words, because I gotta get going. So, and this will be my last word, hopefully. Sometimes I say that and then I talk more. Assuming the worst forecloses the possibility of seeing in the future that I was wrong. Yeah, I mean, you close yourself off from revelation and repentance. Mark, Jacob.
So, folks listening, joining in, Luke's laid down some rules. If you want to go on the stream, obey the rules. Stop forcing him to have to act in a way that he doesn't want to. Yeah, you can just obey the rules. Okay, stop it. Okay.
Good word. Thanks, Mark. Jacob.
I will say I was not attempting to disobey your rules. I try to obey the rules. It's just very hard with Luke to know what the rules are when. And I think that it's precisely as bad, if not worse, to assume the best in a person as to assume the worst in a person, because you're just assuming. And the goal is not to be deluded in one way or another. It's to see things hopefully as they really are. And yeah, that's difficult. Correct. Life is hard. Get used to it.
All right, David. Late showing to the party, but you know we're closing down stream because I have things to do. Why don't you give us your thoughts, my friend?
Luke, I don't know about your principle. I think you're just a left-handed fighter. Does that make sense to you? Where like they think one of the reasons why left-handedness may have even like evolved, like what its purpose is that if you come across someone that just fights different, then it will surprise some people. It puts you at a disadvantage in some ways, but it also gives you an advantage in other ways. So I feel like you are trying to follow your principle, and that means that Claire is allowed to hack your system, for lack of a better term, where she may not be able to in other places. And in some situations, I think that definitely makes you, for lack of a better term, win the fight.
I think what I'm trying to do is like the whole Jesus thing. Satan thought he was winning, and he got what he wanted, and it ended up being his destruction.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting idea. I liked that you had Claire on for a conversation in the past week. I thought that was really good. Something that needed to happen. But it's difficult because I have, within this week, I've been praying for Claire because I've been trying to understand what's happening, and I realized that the direction that I was taking is not the right one. And so I just started praying for her and started realizing that the only way that it would work is if I was doing so without any malice, without any anger, without anything being upset. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's,
Yes.
I mean, I'm going to always encourage, like, the prayer is a good thing when you don't know what to do. That's a fantastic deal. All right, Jess, actual last
I
word.
just saw that you were streaming. I just saw that Jacob was on, and I saw David join. And, well,
I'm doing Bible study.
I don't even know what you guys are talking about.
I'm doing Bible study at the hour. So
Okay.
come out to that. How about that? If this is ending soon.
I might continue this this little stream after Luke decides to be gone, so that people like Jess can talk, because I like Jess.
Yeah, Jess is great. I will listen into it as I go about my day, but that's good. All right. Thanks, everyone, for coming. Last day, bringing back the social media. Thanks, everyone, for coming. That's all. Let's close out. What should we close out with? Another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9. I left 9 comments on the Glenn Sunshine conversation, and he did his whole randos in the Kia, and he's nice. Like, good work. Let's see. I timed it. I left